Overly positive people, toxic positivity basically, will make you sick, will make you drained, will make you feel ill. Trust me on this, because it's all bullshit. And if you're the sort of person that's sick and tired of bullshit and want to speak your truth and level up in the process, join my free community. There's over 500 members in there. It's called the No Bullshit Society. It's totally free. The link's down below. So, what is toxic positivity? What do these positive people do that make us sick? They are overly deluded. They have their heads in the sand, and they quote buzzwords they see on Facebook and social media. Yes, just these little quotes such as "be kind," "love conquers all," and all that other jazz. Why does it make you sick? Because you become deluded, you become deranged, and you become motivated, not inspired or with the discipline and perseverance to grow, motivated to burn yourself out in the pursuit of the wrong ideas and with the wrong people. A fantastic example of this is the gaslighting that we do to ourselves. So thanks to social media, thanks to influencers, YouTubers, people who are selling these webinars and, situations where you can totally be a positive person. They're selling you bullshit. Let me explain. I was in a negative relationship, a toxic relationship years ago. By logic and by rationale and by obvious nature, I should have walked away after the first bloody date. Instead, I didn't. I stayed. Why did I stay? Because of toxic positivity. I'd convinced myself all of the following and more, rather than the fact that that person was a narcissist and you'll never be good enough for the wrong person. I convinced myself that love conquers all. That's what these mantras and these law of attraction morons say, right? I convinced myself that thinking positive will change the narrative and the behavior I was being, accompanied to. And my life would be better. Instead, it got worse. I believe with the amount of good energy, good vibes, and good feelings, then I would actually smile and be happy, when instead we argued more and more. I tried to leave, then I went back for round 2 of the most decaying, negative, toxic relationship. But here's the ironic thing. When I walked away, despite family and friends toxic shaming me, basically bullshitting me to say, you've got to work things out. If I were you, I'd be able to turn it around. What if you're single for the rest of your life? I was 32 at the time. What if you don't ever, ever, ever turn this around? Blah, 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 blah. By believing that bullshit and then pushing through that bullshit, I was the most positive I've ever been, and actually attracted more positivity and more positive outcomes in my life. Eventually, not straight away, because there's growing pains. The more we suffer, the more we stick our heads in the sand and delude ourselves, the more sick we become. And here's the really crazy thing. By deluding myself in that relationship, which is one of many examples, I became more overweight. I got bags under my eyes, and yeah, you can still see them. I aged horribly. I had more stress. I shouted and screamed and argued more than ever before. I lost focus on a business that eventually went under. I lost a lot of money. I went through hell. And how did I keep doing it? By watching content that deluded me to think positive all the time, no matter what. By listening to bullshit fake positivity, toxic positivity, instead of the truth. No one in my family group or friendship group at the time was willing to give it to me straight. To say to me, this is toxic, you're getting worse, you need to get the hell out. That's what inspired me for the last few years to go on YouTube to say it how it is. Because some people need to hear the truth. Some people don't want to be deluded. Some people don't want to be ill. God forbid. What happens when you're ill? You decay. You age faster. You waste your life. You don't have energy to train. You don't preserve yourself. You don't save yourself. You rot. I don't want that to happen to you. So I'd rather say walk away. I'd rather say go for the breakup. I'd rather say quit that thing and start something else. I'd rather say cut ties. Because that's what we really need to hear. But toxic positivity doesn't sell if it's rooted in truth. It sells more if it's wrapped in bullshit. To the person that's suffering in an abusive, disrespectful, toxic relationship, it is far more appealing to have a quote or a person saying you can turn it around. It's more viral than to say the blunt truth that your relationship is screwed and so on. At the time of trying to figure out a mess of a relationship and a terrible match, I found myself going down the rabbit hole of YouTube. And trust me, back then, between 2016 and 19, YouTube was a very different place. There wasn't as much self-improvement channels back then. But I went to the big guns. I went to Mr. Toxic Positivity himself, Tony Robbins, who's basically made a career out of buzzwords and exercises that mask and put a little tiny band-aid over the massive scar and wounds that is our trauma. And he was saying all of this bullshit and all these seminars of people who are going to get divorced, people with like severe relationship crises, how you can turn it around, how you can do this, how you can do that, and everything. And I used to take it on board. I said, yeah, I'm going to think more positively. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take all these action steps. But did you know Mr. Toxic Positivity himself, who I'm crashing it on, Tony Robbins, was divorced? No. And he's on his second marriage now. So hang on a second. How can I take on board your advice on how to fix my failing toxic relationship when you didn't? You gave up. You divorced. You don't mention that, do you? Because he plasters his partner all over social media with him. She goes and talks with him. Of course she does. It's part of the business. It's part of the image. It's all bullshit. And that's actually why people fall for it. So as a result, I lost sleep. I gained weight. I lost the business. My mental health suffered because I believed bullshit. Some people are making themselves physically burnt out, mentally drained, emotionally dead inside through hustle and grind culture as well. Another king of toxic positivity is Gary Vaynerchuk, a person that I subscribed to years ago and thought would be able to inspire me to push through adversity. He says for you to work hard and work harder than everybody else. Tells you to sacrifice partying, sacrifice socializing, sacrifice gaming and everything, and just Netflix and just focus on grind. Cool. I did that. But what this idiot doesn't ever tell you is, what if you're grinding on something that's never going to take off, which is 90% of all business projects from entrepreneurs and startups? What if the thing that you're working on has no real legs and you have unrealistic expectations? Take me, for example. I've had many failed businesses and projects when Gary Vee was with me and in my head and listening to him every day. Because you become addicted to the toxic positivity because they must be right. But what if I told you Tony Robbins, Gary Vee, all these idiots, they're selling you bullshit. They're selling you fluff. It perks you up and makes you feel good. You're going to die one day, they say. You better make it count. You better do this. Okay, great. You're motivated for about 5 minutes, but where's the action plan? Where's the reality? Should I put $10,000, $50,000 into this business that may or may not take off? Where's the guarantee? There's no guarantees in life, but is it worth the pain of potentially losing all that money? And should I mentally and emotionally kill myself for what? To just get by? To break even? At a loss? Yeah. This is the harsh reality. This is the problem. So what's the answer? What do? Become negative morons? Become black pillars? Become doomers? No, that's the other extreme. That's unproductiveness. That's living in your mother's basement. That's moaning and groaning and doing nothing about it. Blaming everyone and everything for your circumstances. I don't associate with people like you, and you're probably not watching this video. What we have to do is come somewhere into the middle. On one extreme is positivity, the other extreme is doom and negativity, and in the middle is realness. In the middle is reality. In the middle is our truth. So what is the truth? The truth in my relationship in the past was it was toxic, and I would never be good enough for the wrong person. So why should I stay another moment? I can't. I have to walk away. But what about what my family think, my friend? Doesn't matter. I have to walk away. And then I had to push through the adversity and the pain and the disrespect and toxic shame of people saying I'm a loser, I'm stupid, men are the problem, and like you could have turned it around. And I'm in a better place now. What about those businesses that could never take off, that was killing myself, exhausting myself, plowing money into? I've given it a good go. It wasn't meant to be. It's time to start something different. Even on YouTube, I've been on YouTube for 5 years. I've been so desperate and harsh on myself for not having 100,000 subscribers or even 1 million subscribers. I wanted to be big, wanted to be huge. And then I lost sight for 14 months, grinded and burnt myself out just creating content for the sake of it, not resonating with people, not getting anywhere. The second I took my foot off the gas and actually gave it to you straight like this and had the uncomfortable conversations, I grew a community. I've had the best year ever on YouTube in 5 years, and I'm just getting started. These uncomfortable truths, these realities, people can't say to you because they're too afraid of the circumstances. But you know what? I've got 7 million views almost on this channel. I've told people to walk away, build boundaries, cut contact, stand up for themselves, respectfully, not violently. And not one person has failed or had their life not improve as a result of it. Funny that. So I root myself in truth. That's why I'm a no bullshit coach. That's why the people in my community, the no bullshit society, pride themselves on being able to actually grow and improve. This is not an echo chamber to vent and complain, through truth. And it's free. So join now. The link's in the description and pinned comment down below. At the end of the day, it's a balance. When things are perfectly balanced, with the right amount of positivity and negativity, we push through. And when we're real and true to ourselves, we do something incredible. We push ourselves through pain and adversity. That 14 months was a dark time on my channel. And when I have growth and when I grow the community and I work with people and so on, I cherish it and realize I was being too harsh and unpredictable. And I stopped looking at others and comparing and saying, why is that not happening to me? Why am I not growing? Why? Instead, what can I do now? Whilst also enjoying life in the process. We are our own worst critics. That's a good thing for motivation. But it's also a damaging thing because we'll gaslight ourselves if we're not careful with toxic positivity. And as you are aware, toxic positivity makes you sick. You want to be healthy, God willing? You want to live long? Do you want to have true success? It's a marathon, not a sprint. It will happen eventually through perseverance, parking our egos aside and seeking truth. Only then will the truth set you free.